Hi guys, how are you doing? It's your girl Owamie, and welcome back to my channel. Now, of course, you guys know I've got two channels. This is Boldly Owamie. Thank you guys for subscribing. If you've not subscribed yet, please do. Make sure that you also have your bell on so that you do not miss a single episode. And if you have not subscribed to my Owamie Entertainment, which is my main channel, please also make sure that you do that. You can search Owamie Entertainment, or you can go to the description box. I'm sure you will definitely get the link over there. To Hell and Back season 2 episode 1 is already out. So basically season 2 is obviously coming. On Monday we're also going to have another episode. We are only going to be airing To Hell and Back on Mondays because To Hell and Back Scams edition is actually scratched out. I did explain. However, we do have a series that is going to be taking the Thursday slot, so you don't have to worry. But today, guys, because I was like, okay, I really want to just share something with you guys. Wow, this is not easy for me. Hey, I don't know. Like, there's a lot that girl has gone through. Hey, but this video is really honestly just to warn, especially young girls out there. You know, when you're young, you're in love, you can make the worst decisions for yourself, like literally the worst, oh man. So for some of you guys that do not know, I was actually married for 9 years. I was with my ex for a very, very long time. And I was with someone that I literally loved. I loved him like so much. I feel like there were just a very few things that I would not do for that man, like almost close to nothing, And it's quite a shame and a sad situation on the fact that obviously, we had to get a divorce. But at the end of the day, I think, it has taught me a lot of stuff. I have learned so much through that marriage and through the divorce process and just, life in general. So I was very young when I got with this guy, which obviously I feel also had a huge impact in the decision makings that I also did. I also did lose my mom, so I've been basically, I would say, motherless, or rather my mom passed away 11 years this year in August. I've got 2 sisters, I've got a nephew, so there was a lot of things that I feel like I really honestly had to consider when it comes to a lot of stuff that I'm going to go ahead and just explain to you guys right now. Sometimes when you don't know someone, you see them and you're like, oh, they are in a much better position. Guys, I literally had to scroll and I literally had to crawl. Like, I literally had to use my hands to dig myself out of a hole that I never thought I'd get out, or a lot of people around me never thought I would actually see the light of day when it comes to these particular situations, right? So I was married to someone, guys, that I don't know, like, the guy's IQ, I think, is just not as high. He would make some of the dumbest decisions, guys, and I think because of that, I would always have to be like the life savior. He would go out there and do stuff. I wouldn't know about it. I would only know about it like masekushu, guys, like when things are now bad. The police are getting involved, the hawks, like literally. And he didn't like to sit and play with things that are not important. He used to go for those that will get him arrested, So I want you guys to sit down and actually like just imagine. This is a 26-year-old. Because I was 26 when that happened, yes, turning 27. So this is a 26-year-old that stays with her fiance at that time. I don't have a mother. My father has kicked me and my sisters out. So my sisters are staying with my aunt, who was also not working. I can't remember exactly what time that it started for her to actually start to get, grant. But when my sister stayed with my aunt, like, she wasn't even getting grant, you understand, like, yet. She got into the process of getting grant, which helped a lot because my sisters were there. So my sisters were staying with her and also my nephew. So it's like the 3 of them staying there. I mean, I don't have an income, so I'm not sending any money to them. And for me, being someone that growing up, my mom had always taught me, like, you need to be a provider. Like, your sisters are your children. Like, she literally used to say that all the time. And so for me, it was that thing of I felt responsible for them, somehow. I don't know. But due to the fact that I was really unemployed, we were able to send money, but that was because my ex obviously was working. Now, where he was working, guys, the guy was not even earning a lot of money, okay? It wasn't up to 6,000. It was somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000. So it was 5 point something. So you can definitely see that the budget was very tight. Things were just really honestly tight, right? But we were able to can pay our rent. We were able to can have that food to eat, he was able to can get transport and go to work, and the money would be finished. Home at that time, I think we were sending about 500 rands. So yeah, it was quite a tough time at that particular time, right? Sharp. So what basically happened was I started realizing, man, that my ex would come home with some computers, and I'm like, what is this? I asked him, and guy basically at first he didn't want to say. He ends up actually admitting that now he's stealing computers at work. I asked him to stop. I'm like, please stop this, that. He was like, okay, I'm going to stop. Sharp. We agree. And I think I had spoken to him on a Tuesday to say please stop, and he agreed to say, okay, fine, we're gonna stop. I remember on a Friday, whilst he was at work, he had told me that, we're gonna go out for movies, right? And I was super excited, man. I can't remember which movie that was that we're supposed to actually go and watch. But what actually ended up happening was that same Friday he got caught at work stealing yet again. He just, I think he sent me a message to say I was caught. So I'm arrested or something. Guys, my head was literally spinning. Like, you have no idea. I remember just crying. First of all, I'm like, okay, this guy is the reason why I'm even in Joburg. Without him, literally, I had no source of income, Obviously, the first thing that came was, oh my gosh, the man I love is arrested. But then, after that, I'm like, damn, like, if he's not gonna be here, if he gets arrested, it means I'm out here just by myself. I did not want to go home to my aunt's place because I just felt like I was gonna be a burden, because I felt she already had like told my sisters and my nephew, and my aunt literally was the one that would be like, no, come, you go back to school, I know you're smart, I know you can do it. She was really very much big on, she wanted me to come home. I never told her that I'm not coming home because I felt already like she was burdened by my sisters and my nephew, and me going there, I'm gonna just be an addition to the burden that is there. I don't know, like, literally this is very emotional for me. It was a tough time, so bear with me. So I was now sitting, all this is actually happening. This guy's arrested. Now, mind you guys, he was actually on probation. He had done another thing again, illegal, and he was on probation. So this time I was like, they're definitely going to just arrest him. Like, there's no way that he's coming out, So he had friends. Like, I wouldn't say friends. My ex was so bad in terms of, even if you can see that someone is bad for you, he will still be there. He was such a people pleaser. Like, I don't know if I should say people pleaser, or he was someone that just wanted everyone to like him. If he has to lie about anything, like, he just always, I don't know how I can actually literally explain it, but it wasn't a good character to have. So that's why a lot of people constantly used him. People that want people to believe they're a good person at all cost, even at their own expense. That's the type of person that he is, or rather was, when I was with him. Hopefully it's changed, But anyway, these guys, they him and my ex, they used to sometimes go out, they were doing business, blah, blah, blah. They would come back home, or he would come back home after 12, which was very much unlike him. We had been together for a long time, and we'd never ever had problem with like cheating or infidelity. So that was never ever anything that actually came to my mind. I just knew that whatever is being done is not good, because I know him, And so whenever I would try to pry and obviously want to hear, like, he would come even with that guy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just looking at them like, So they used to do this stuff together, right? There would be times where I think even when my ex was going to steal the computers, they would go together. I don't know, But then anyway, when he got caught and he got arrested, obviously who's the person that I'm gonna go to? I went to that guy because he had driven to work that day. So I was supposed to go to Joburg to fetch his car because that's where he was working, or rather to fetch the car. So, I think my ex at that time had already told that guy to say, no, please come with my wife so that you can take the car and stuff. And so we did actually end up going to Joburg, and then I did fetch the car, and then I went home. That was Friday night. Literally no communication Saturday. I think Saturday towards late. That was when I think he got someone's phone. He called, like, we probably spoke for 5 seconds or 10 seconds, I don't know. But it was like, no, I'm okay, stuff like that. Later on Friday night, I did take like a jacket and I drove to the police station where he was at, and I gave the police officers to say this is the jacket, right, for him. So that was then it was Saturday, then it was Sunday, no communication, obviously. I'm home just crying, guys. Like, I can't call his parents to tell them that, your son got caught stealing, and now he's in jail. I can't. But I do remember that in my account, or rather his account, I think he had like 4,000 rands. Literally, that was all the money that we had. So you should understand that even if he was stealing, Shem, the guy was not making bank, because that was the only amount of money that we had. So I do remember actually calling home my baby sister, Mishumo. She still had some money from my mother's estate, And so I was like, please borrow me 3,000 rands, this, that. And obviously she agreed. And so, we made means for me to get that money. So when I went to court, I had about 4, 5, 6, about 7,000, somewhere there, 7,500 or something. That's all the money that I had. And when we went there, guys, this is the thing that I can go ahead and tell you. When you have bad friends, they are bad through and through. Throughout the whole weekend, this colored guy, because his friend was colored, he literally was how can I say this? Like, he was like, yo, this guy is so disappointing. His father took him to school. This guy has a degree. Now he's just useless, this degree, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, my guy. But you guys used to do this illegal nonsense together. There are certain things that they were doing. Others I just didn't even know what, But the whole weekend, literally. So I remember he called, there was a day that I think it was on a Saturday, because I'd wake up, I'd go to them, like, you're in Joburg, you're by yourself, I'm 26 years old, I don't have any money. So I was hoping that them, because they are older, they're my husband's friend, maybe they can be able to help, like, was my fiance at that time, obviously. So I'm like, I'm not understanding, like, what, like, guys. It was a lot. It really honestly was a lot. I remember he called one of his friends. I think that the friend is a prosecutor or something. Asked him to say, hey, I've got a friend of mine that got arrested, but this guy is actually on probation. So, how is this going to go? That guy was like, well, the fact that he's on probation, obviously already that's a red flag. So he can't get bail because he's already on probation. Apparently that's what he said. And then, so he's not going to get bail. He's going to go through this whole court arrested. He'll be in a cell or in jail, something like that. And then he basically said that, well, I can be able to help you guys. 15,000 rands, I only had 7,000, which I even had to hustle the 3,000. I don't have 15,000 rands. And I don't even know if it was 15,000 rands or this guy, let's just call him Mr. L. Mr. L also added his own money on that, because, like, as I'm saying, like, these were horrible individuals, literally. But when you're desperate, you're still going to go to those that in hopes that they'll be able to help. So, Shabu, Monday comes, guys, and then we go to court, right? When we get there, I remember Mr. L introducing me to this other guy. Oh, that guy, if I see him today, I'll punch him. Very short, wearing like a garment, like, he's a lawyer, most those lawyer garments and stuff. And then he basically comes to me and he says, hey, if you give me 5,000 rands, I'll make sure that your man gets out, and I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, no, that guy's already communicated that the guy actually has probation, is on probation, blah blah blah. The only thing that you have to do there is that you will say that no, he's not on probation, and I'm gonna sort things out for you guys so that he gets the bail, but you have to give me 5,000 rands. And I think the biggest problem that was there was the fact that when this guy Mr. Parkman, Mr. L, when I had spoken to him, he had actually said that, he had asked me like how much money I had, and I told him, I was like, oh, I've got 7,000. So I think to him, he told that guy to say, charge her 5,000 rands. So I do suspect, guys, that he had already told that guy to say, charge her 5,000, she will pay the 5,000, and then he can get his card, because Mr. L, guys, was just also this thing that you cannot understand. So I obviously was looking at it and I'm like, I'm gonna give this guy 5,000 rands. Of course, I'm not gonna be able to afford a lawyer, and if like now there'll be money that is needed for bail, where am I supposed to get the money, So I sat down, guys, and I'm contemplating and everything. And at that time, I was under the impression that bail will be 1,000 rands. So I was like, okay, I can give this guy 5,000. He will get out, and then 1,000 will be for bail. We will see how we go by life, At least we'll have 1,000. But something in me just said, no, man, don't give this guy any money. So basically, because I had agreed at first, that guy, or Mr. L, had already gone and whispered to my ex that just say that you don't have any probations. And so that's exactly what he did. And they just stamped and said, you are free, you can go, you are out on bail, basically. And they said bail is set on 3,500 rands. So guys, even I had given that guy 5,000, I would not have had bail to bail out this guy, So, okay, sharp, now I'm happy that he's coming out. I just could not wait, guys, to actually just go and pay that bail so that we can just get out of this place, And for me, at that time, like, I was just so distressed. Like, I was in so much stress. Guys. Like, so much stress. I'm sure I'll look for a picture. Maybe I can be able to get it. If I get it, I'll post it here so that you guys can just see how I looked. Like, I literally just looked stressed, guys. I tried to have that makeup on, even though I was still so horrible with makeup. But you guys know, like, I've always tried to look my best at whatever budget I have, So we had now been told that we're gonna wait we have to go and pay the bill and then come out, blah blah blah, sharpo. And then I actually go and I pay the bill, if I'm not too mistaken. And then now we were waiting for them to do the processing so that it can come out. Now, mind you guys, it's a lot of people because it was a Monday. So everyone that got arrested throughout the weekend had to see the judge that day. Others were getting bail, others were not getting bail. So there were a lot of people that were getting bail at that time. And so we all had to go and submit, and they still had to capture every single person and obviously get like, your proof of address and stuff like that, if I'm not too mistaken, so that they can always stay in everything sharp. So just as I'm standing outside, here comes this guy. Now this guy is like, he's an attorney. He's wearing, their clothes. He's old, man. I mean, I'm 26 at that time. I'm sure he was already maybe 50, in his mid 50s. I'll call him Mr. J. So he was already probably in his mid 50s, So he sees me and he's like, how are you? Like, that thing of how are you, gorgeous? I'm like, I'm fine, thanks. How are you? It's like, I'm fine, but you are lying to me. You're not fine. So, obviously you could see my eyes were red. Throughout the whole weekend, I was crying, my eyes were red. My eyes were a bit swollen. He's like, what's wrong, So I can't remember what I said. Or I just said, hey, yo. And then he's like, are you Venda? He speaks in Venda, and I start speaking in Venda, which made me feel a bit more comfortable with him because he's Venda. I don't know why most of us have this thing, Okuti, if you're Venda, I'm Venda, like somehow you're gonna look out for me. So it was almost like, okay, a Venda person, So he's like, what's wrong? Like, tell me what's going on. I'm like, yo, I'm literally like, my eyes are starting to just gather tears. So he could see, it's like, let's just go to my office. So I'm like, okay. As we're going to the office, we meet the judge, literally the one that actually gave my ex the bail, and he was leaving, right? So the judge Guys, I saw him. It was him. He was leaving, I think maybe he was leaving the court and going somewhere, and then he said to him, "It's like, how, Mr. L, when are you always have beautiful girls, hey, like what's going on, you should also show us the spot where you collect these gorgeous girls, right?" So they are talking like literally as friends, he's joking with him and they're even laughing. I'm looking at this man like this man has the power to can keep my husband at the time in jail or actually out. So obviously when I see that, I was just standing, I just smiled, and then I went to Mr. J's office. I almost said his name. Went to Mr. J's office. So when we got there, he basically explains. He asked me like what's going on. I explained like he stole, and now he's going this court. He might get arrested. Blah blah blah. And then he's like, "No, just tell me the whole story. Be honest so that I can be able to help you." So I did tell him. I'm like, okay, well, he's also on probation. But he did say that he was not on probation. So I really don't know what is it that I need to do, sharp. So basically, Mr. J is like, okay, did you see who the judge is, that's handling his case? Because it seems like the way that he was talking, mostly if it's a judge that gave you bail, it will be that courtroom you go to. So high chances are it will be that judge that you work with. So I'm like, well, the one that you were talking to, sorry guys, my battery died. So I tell him to say, well, the judge that the judge that you were talking to, that's the judge that actually is handling the case. I was like, oh, Musi, that's a sorted thing. That's a done deal. That's my friend. That's what he says. I don't know even till today if he's an advocate or whatever, but he had his own office there and he seemed to be someone that worked there for a long time because almost everybody knew him. And he was someone that I would say was very, those bontate that are very up and down, man, and he talks and he's very friendly. That's what I wanted to say. He seemed very, very friendly, So like literally, it was like I got a sign of... okay, finally someone that maybe can be able to help. That was on a Monday, mind you. So he then says, I can be able to help you, and this case will just be wiped. I'm like, oh, okay. But now in my mind, I'm like, I know for a fact that we don't have money. But, let me hear how much this guy is going to need so that maybe we can sit down and think of maybe a payment plan or what we can be able to do, obviously, because I did not want, obviously, someone I loved to be in jail. He then says that, because I asked him, I'm like, okay, so I know very like like I'm talking event that so what would be my part, how much? And then he was like, I don't need money, I have enough. I'm like, oh, okay, because literally guys, nothing was clicking in my mind. I'm like, this guy is so nice, he's gonna do this for us for free. Yeah, it is not for free, guys. This guy then says, you are a woman, I'm a man. I hope you know what I'm talking about. I'm looking at him and he's like, well, if you can just sleep with me once, I'm going to make sure that this case is done. Because right now, the fact that, he's out on probation, if they find out, he's immediately going to be thrown to jail up until the term. And people that lie, that's what he was saying, they actually... like they will keep reminding their case even longer to just punish them. Guys, now I'm looking at him, and he basically says, you know what, you can go home and think about it. He says, take my numbers, and then he takes my numbers, and he says that, think about it overnight. I'm gonna wanna meet you. I think he said Wednesday at 12, you should come back here so that we can finalize everything if you want your man to not go to jail. So I'm like, okay, I leave that office. Obviously, I can't tell anyone. I can't even tell my ex because I knew that he's going to say no. There was a huge part of me that felt like, okay, and I think this is the thing. Like, this is literally just me being vulnerable with you guys. There was a huge part of me that felt guilty. I felt guilty. As much as I've never pressured that man into anything, I just felt like maybe the responsibility of the fact that he had to feed me and we also still had to send some money home. Maybe it was just too much for him, and that's why he was now resorting to crime, which is something I never asked him to do. But there was a huge part of me that literally felt guilty, And so I felt like, okay, if I'm to do this thing and sleep with this guy, this old man once, and I keep it a secret, I will know that at least, I had done it for him. I literally, guys, Monday, I did not sleep. I was thinking about this up and down, Tuesday, it was even a worse day because that same Tuesday, the same Mr. L and his wife came and said they're borrowing the car. Because remember, when you don't have real friends, if they feel like they helped you, because they never even popped up one rent, every up and down that was done for us to go there and everything, it was from the money that obviously my ex and I had. So they came and said they're borrowing the car. That car, we had not been paying for it for years, guys, and it got repossessed the Tuesday that my ex had come back from jail on Monday. Literally, guys, like I feel like had it been that the car was repossessed before, it would have been such a huge blow. But I was just so grateful that my ex is not in jail that I was like, I don't even care about the car. I don't even care about the car. That was Tuesday. But now I also had this big stress and this big thing that was actually hanging around my head of, do I go and sleep with Mr. J so that my ex, is going to be free? What am I supposed to do? So Wednesday, I basically, text Mr. J and I said, hey, I'm going to be coming. I'll see you at 12, And I remember I went into the taxis. I entered the taxis and I went to Joburg. When I got there, I went to his office, obviously because I knew his office. And when I entered, guys, like you could see how happy this guy was. Like, this is such an old guy. I, even till today, guys, never cheated on my ex. I never was with any man up until after our marriage was over, after he cheated on me. So after he cheated on me, we went into an open marriage. I think I've spoken about this. I was like, well, if you're going to open it, let's rather open. But that was all the way in 2020. So this is something that is happening in 2017. So I enter and I just see how happy this guy is. This old man, he's so happy. And I'm asking myself, like, okay, so he's going to want to sleep with me here in his office or what? Like, I don't know. Guys, the guilt that I already had just being there, because when I left, I can't remember what I had said to my ex, but I said, I'm going to town. There's something that I need to do. I can't remember what, but I had gotten an excuse that I actually leave. So, I went there, obviously sat down. The guy's talking to me. He's like, you look beautiful, blah, 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 blah. And then after that, he's like, how is your body? That a guy that is going to get caught, because he had now looked at his case. So basically what had happened is that a lot of people were stealing computers there. But when they started saying, hey, there are computers missing, everyone stopped except for who? My ex, who was now caught on CCTV footage because they decided to actually put cameras there to see who's stealing. So I don't know if others just did not tell him, or now he had and he was like, no, I'm gonna do this last job. I don't know, guys. So when he read the file, he was now telling me like, yeah, this is what happened, blah, 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 blah. It's like, but don't worry, I can be able to sort it out. When I just have to, do your part and I will do it. Guys, I remember this guy, because like I was sitting on this side, there's a table, and then he's on the other side. He stood up. When he stood up, guys, my heart, it's not a funny thing, my heart was beating so fast. He comes, and when he comes to me, he literally hugs me. I can still when he hugged me, I literally just broke down. I started crying, guys. I started crying so bad. He now says to me, like, he gets upset and he's like, but this is something that we agreed on. You have to do this if you want your man to not go to jail. But the way that I was crying, guys, someone that is crying helpless. Like, I feel like if he had pinned me down, he would have just had his way with me, because for me, I just didn't have strength anymore. Guys, I was tired. Life was tough. Life was so tough. And I remember like just thinking of, oh my gosh, like, even back home, they're gonna like laugh at me. My man is gonna go to jail. I'm gonna be having to go home, because where am I going to stay? And now I'm going home without a degree. I'm going home basically a failure. There was a lot that was happening in my mind. And I'm like, people sleep with people for nothing. At least I would be doing this for my man, blah, blah, blah. But it was against every single fiber in my body. I remember with that, Mr. J did get quite upset, and then he held himself together. And then he said, you know what, wipe your tears, let's go. So we left. I remember, guys, our car just got repossessed. So I was not used to using taxis. So I didn't even know where to get the taxi to go to Klipspruit, which is where we were staying in Soweto. So, he asked, where are you going? I actually asked him, I was like, where can I get the taxis to Klipspruit? It's like, you're even using a taxi? I was like, yeah, our car got repossessed yesterday. He's like, I know you're going through a lot, but you want to still add on your stress. So many women do these things when you're like, he literally tried to make me feel like I just didn't love my man enough, because why am I not doing this, But anyway, I entered his car, and that time the car that he was driving, literally a Hyundai i20. He drives me and he drops me off. I can't remember if it was Brie or that other taxi rank, because this is something that happened a long time ago, guys. But then he showed me, it's like, I know that people get taxis to Soweto from here. So wherever you go, I'm sure you'll get a taxi. And I went there. I got the taxi to Klipspruit and I went back. That was on a Wednesday. Guys, that night, I really could not sleep. I felt so guilty, because I was someone that was so faithful to that man that even for the fact that I went, I felt so guilty. So I ended up actually confessing to him. And I remember my ex was so angry and hurt. He's like, hey, you did sleep with him, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I didn't. If I slept with him, first of all, I wouldn't tell you. And again, if I slept with him, the case would just be wiped. So, the case is still going to continue. So, that was when, obviously, after that, we couldn't pay for rent where we were staying, because he lost his job. And that's when we actually relocated to, Free State, which ended up being the biggest blessing, because when I was in Free State, that was the time that I could not film my normal videos. So I decided to just do like an entertainment video. I think it was like a minute, and people watched. I think it got like 800 views, and for me at that time, 800 views was like a lot of views, And then I would say, like, literally, that's when I was like, let me do entertainment. People seem to like, got viral, and I'm where I am today after that. Now, what is the thing that I can go ahead and say to you guys is that please never ever sacrifice your values and your morals to save someone else. That is the biggest regret I would have had my whole entire life, looking at the fact that I'm even divorced from this man. Looking at how bad this man did me. And I was literally at a point where I was willing to use my body to get this man out of jail. It breaks me even till today. I know I didn't do it, and I'm so grateful. I swear I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful the fact that obviously like me crying made that guy stop. But he did not stop there. Even when I was in Free State, he would try to call and contact me, to say, hey, how are you? Can I see you? Is there a way that I can see you? What? And I was like, no, I'm not seeing you. But I had to still be nice to him. And let me tell you why. Because before the case was done, I did not want him maybe to can say he's going to go and say, hey, I want you guys to jail this guy because he's on parole and he lied. Or he's on probation and he lied or something. Because now I was like, I really did not know. I did not see him up until the other time that I had to go to court with my ex. And, when we went to court, we were sitting outside and then I saw him walking out. My ex was sitting next to me, so he did not come to me, he just passed. He said hi, and then he passed. But he ended up actually going that case, guys. I think, if I'm not too mistaken, it got finalized towards the end of 2017. That's when he got the probation, and not probation. He got community service, and so he had to go and clean like the police stations, cells and toilets. That was disgusting. He said, because I never saw. But one thing that I can go ahead and just say, guys, is that I think the reason why I'm doing this video is to just try and say, no matter how in love you are, please do not sacrifice your morals, your values for someone else. Do not compromise yourself just to save the next person. Please don't do it. If I had literally slept with that old man, that would have been the biggest regret of my life. The biggest. And I think that is very sad of the fact that so many women get taken advantage of. You know, I really honestly was stuck between a hard place and a rock. Because if this man goes to jail, now I'm going to be a burden to my aunt. My father that had kicked me out, I was like, yo, he's going to have a field day to say, yeah, you know, look at where they are, blah, blah, blah. And I just felt like I really did not want for my aunt to have to fend for another month. Because when I was going there, guys, I was literally going there with nothing. That's why even when the option came that when we go to Free State, we're going to be staying in a shack, I literally took that option. Because I did not want to be a burden to my aunt, who was already doing her best. So, I don't know, but I think life is not as easy, guys. And sometimes you look at people, as I've said in the beginning, there are people who even come to me when I talk about, guys, learn skill, do this, do that. And they say, when are you talking because you're from a point of privilege? And I'm like, do you know what privilege is? Do you know where I come from? Do you know what I've had to go through in this world? You have no idea. You have no idea how many sleepless nights I've had to go just to make sure that my channel succeeds. How many videos I've posted, how many times I've had to edit. I literally ran my channel for a full 6 years plus without an editor, without anybody. Me just doing it myself. I'm the video crew, I'm the sound guy, I'm the editor, I'm the uploader, I'm the everything. There was a time where I couldn't even remember me sleeping before 4 a.m. working. Because I know where I come from. It is really sad. I can't even say to this old man that try to prey on young women, like, stop, because they won't. They're not going to stop. But I can go ahead and say that as a young person, please try your best to make sure that you actually have your own money. If you're in school, guys, please study. Make sure that you pass. Get that qualification. Same time, be learning a skill. It can literally even be the skill of just making hair. Sometimes I feel like our vision is just so small. Some people sit down and they're like, I can never be a hairdresser. People will look down on me. It's okay, sharp. Let's say you have that stupid mentality, because that's a dumb mentality. Let's say you have that, but you're good at making hair. You can make hair. Sorry. What's stopping you? You've got a smartphone. Do people's hair, take videos, take pictures, post. More people are going to come if your work is good. Open a salon, have people do the hair. You're the manager. It's your salon. You're making money. You're a businesswoman. But in any department, any business, you're still going to have to pay your dues. You are going to have to pay your rent. Trust and believe. You're going to have to. Mohona, you cannot run away from it. So as a woman, try your best to also just have your own money. Trust and believe that will save your life. But the most important thing is that please never put someone before you, especially if it has to do with you having to compromise your values and yourself. I had told myself that I'm not going to be sleeping with old men, which I had never done that time. I've never done. I don't see myself doing it, right? That's the first thing. The second thing, I had never seen myself cheating on that man. So that was everything for me, that I would have cheated on him, even though it was for him, but I would have still had cheated on him, because I was not going to tell him if I had slept with that guy or that old man. So, yo, guys, please, never love someone above yourself. Never compromise your values for another person's sake. And to the likes of Mr. J, you lot are disgusting. Hell is waiting for you. So, yeah, guys, that's basically what happened. Like, even just thinking about it, my heart hurts, hey? Like, just think of young Owamie. Like, I've gone through a lot, guys. Like, I did not deserve that. I remember just when we were coming back, I was so excited that my ex was in the car with us and we're going home. But at the same time, I had this thing of, if I want him out, I have to go and sleep with that 55 or 50 something year old. And I would look at him and, he would look at me and he would smile. And I had that guilt of like, maybe he's doing all this stuff because I'm also not working. Guys, there was a lot. A lot. So stay strong out there if you're still in that hard and a thing like, between a hard place and a rock. And I really just do not know, guys. But yeah, this life is not that easy. It's not the easiest. But God is with us, and I do pray to God that everyone that is going through stuff, your story will end up being a success story and you're gonna be okay. Because I know God is also, very good and faithful. So anyway, I love you guys so much. Stay blessed, and I will see you guys my next upload. Bye, ninjas.